All right, before we dive into building anything, we need to slow down for a second and actually get grounded into what this is. A lot of people jump straight into prompts and tools and text, but if you don't have a real foundation, none of that is actually going to stick. So we're going to talk about the part that many people miss, and it's why they feel overwhelmed later. What we're going to be doing here is building the brain of your system, not just giving it tasks or handing it little scripts or prompts. We're going to start to show it how you think, how you make decisions, what matters to you, and how you communicate to the people you are serving. Once your AI understands that, it becomes so much easier to delegate and scale, not just content, but ideas, strategies, execution, small little tasks. I don't want you to think that this is about becoming a tech expert or learning how to use AI. It's going to be about building a system that reflects you, your voice, your judgment, your values, your processes. So don't worry if you're brand new to this, you don't need to be perfect. I want you to walk away from this video feeling clear. We're going to guide you through each part one step at a time. Let's go ahead and jump in. So the first thing we need to understand is the difference between a custom GPT and a project. So think of a project as a smart workspace inside of ChatGPT. This is built for big ideas and not just one-off tasks or just one-off tasks. So with projects, you can keep all your related chats and files into one space. It's going to save the memory and learn more about what you're trying to do within all these different conversations at one time. And you'll be able to pick up where you left off without constantly having to repeat yourself. Versus a custom GPT, it's a little bit more customizable. So think of it as an AI mini employee built on top of ChatGPT. So it's trained on a specific task and tailored with files, instructions, and preferences. So if you want it to talk a certain way, have a certain type of behavior, set a specific type of tone or personality, that is what you'll be able to do with a custom GPT. One of the biggest differences between these two as well, a custom GPT is much easier to share with other team members. And so a custom GPT, think of it as focused, task specific, or topic specific, versus a project is more you're working on a workspace, almost like think about a whiteboard where you have a bunch of sticky notes and notes on it. That's a workspace, but a custom GPT is like a mini employee. Now, let's go through some examples of how you would these two in different circumstances. So a custom GPT is going to save you time by doing the same task or the same conversation over and over with you. So think answering client questions, repurposing content, sending messages, writing things in your own voice, versus a project would be like planning your offers, saving research, building systems, or keeping track of everything that's happening within specific departments of your business. So you're going to go to ChatGPT, make sure you have the $20 a month version, and you're going to see that I have a dozen or so custom GPTs that I've built. If I were to click here, it'll either say explore, it'll say GPTs, and you'll press the create button. And this is the dashboard you'll use to start training up your custom GPT with custom instructions, knowledge bases, files, etc. And to start a new project, what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down and you're going to click here into new project. And this is what it'll look like. So this is one of our consultant projects. You'll see it has project files into here. And it also has custom instructions. Now in this video, we're going to talk specifically about custom GPTs. Now there's going to be two types that you'll be able to leverage. We have tools and we have assistants. So tools are going to be things that complete a specific task for you. Think writing content, email responder, writing captions, creating sales scripts, versus an assistant is going to be more like a life coach, business advisor. It knows your history and you'll be able to come to it and have real conversations with this. Showing you an example of a couple of the ones that we have. You'll see here that I have a life coach GPT. So if I said, what are my 5-year goals? It is trained on data with my 1 to 5-year goals, my business models, everything I do, everything that I'm working towards, and I'll be able to see it here. I have conversations with this life coach GPT to make sure I'm staying on track with what I need to do working on the business versus just working in the business, and making sure it's aligned with the vision that I have for my future. Versus if we were to go to, let's say, the offer bot, This is a tool that we use within our onboarding process for clients. So whenever a client's trying to get clear on their offer, their buyer personas, or their messaging for content, they'll just come here and they'll press this button where it says start now. This bot knows that whenever someone says something along those lines, it's meant to start a 4-step process to walk people through how to get clarity on their ideal client, offer, positioning, brand voice, all of that stuff here. So it's going to ask them a series of questions, and the client will be able to just press the dictate button and answer it almost like interview style. So instead of me having to go through that onboarding process and spend 2 hours doing that, which we used to do in the past, this saves us a lot of time. We get on a call, clarify it in 30 minutes, and we're good to go. The way this works in terms of our content, I'll show you a sneak peek of what this actually looks like. This is how we have a mother of all mother clones. This AI clone GPT is trained on everything about the business, my story, who I am, how I talk, everything. And this can actually connect with multiple of the different custom GPTs. So our caption GPT, storytelling, carousel GPT, this all funnels into our content system. We get feedback on what's performing, what's not performing, and we give that feedback to our AI clone so we can start learning and getting better over time. An example of this will be I can come to my offer bot or whatever ChatGPT, and I can click on my business assistant and say, answer these questions on my behalf. I'm going to come to this and say, answer these questions on my behalf with your knowledge. And you'll see it's going to go ahead and answer all my questions because I don't need to have the same conversation twice. My AI clone already has all of that, and it's going to start filling out this entire offer bot document for me. How awesome is that? So now you get to see how everything really starts tying in and working together. Now imagine this, with either a tool or an assistant, you have hundreds of different tools or even a dozen different tools that you'll be able to start building for your business. We've had clients who are building underwriting tools to help them write books. Anything you can imagine, you'll be able to build with a custom GPT. Now, if you're just getting started, this is the first one that I would recommend. Your AI clone GPT. This would be the one that knows everything about you, your business, how you communicate, and how you make decisions. There's going to be 4 documents we need for this: your founder story, your offers and product details, your ideal client or customer profiles and testimonials, your brand tone and preferred storytelling styles. We can document them using 2 different tools. One of the 2 different tools, which will be either Loom or Fireflies.ai. So Loom is going to allow you just to record yourself talking, and you'll be able to just copy and paste the transcript into custom GPT to just clean it up a little bit before uploading it into your custom GPT. Or you could use Fireflies, which will integrate within Zoom. It's going to do the same thing. Now, all 4 of these documents are going to live in what's called a knowledge base. You can use Notion or any other workspace of your choice. Just get off of the Apple Notes app. This is going to make it easy to reference and update to upload into your custom GPTs at any time. This is what our knowledge base looks like. As you can see within this, we have dozens of different documents that we've used to train our custom GPT. You'll see that I have my transformation story up into here, our sales scripts, which ones performed, which ones didn't. We have our audience info within here. So as you can see within my audience info, I basically just copy and pasted everything that ChatGPT helped me clarify into here with their psychology, their desires, the core positioning, everything. And I'll be able to easily export this and upload it into my custom GPT into the future. And if this has already blown your mind, I want you to go ahead and pull out a notepad or something to where you can come up with a couple list of ideas of how you would leverage custom GPTs in your business. What tools or assistants do you find would be helpful for you to move forward or empower your team to be successful? Now, if this has already blown your mind, feel free to pause here, but if we want to go to level deeper on what exactly you need to develop these, so what we're going to talk about for the rest of this video is going to be the universal custom GPT framework that we have found to give you the most success to get what you're looking for out of your custom GPT. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is define, do we want this to be a tool or do we want this to be an assistant? Is this assistant going to be something that's going to help us with strategic thinking or decision making or conversations? Or is this tool going to help us with a small task such as filling out templates, sending sales emails, generating ideas? pick which one you have. In the future, you'll be able to make hybrids, but for the sake of example, we'll pick one to begin with. The next thing we're going to do is define the role and the identity. Now, this is going to be meaning setting clear expectations. Who is it going to help? What does it do? What does it not do is also just as important. What is the voice, tone, and behavior references that we really want our GPT to communicate with? An example of how a role would look like as you're defining this would be, you are a underwriting GPT that helps real estate investors do napkin underwriting for deals. Here's how to do it, XYZ 1, 2, 3. So you're defining the role, what it's supposed to do. The next is going to be the core function. We need to define what exactly does this GPT produce or solve. Is it producing content? Is it producing clarity? Is it going to vet deals for us? Really focus on the end result and not just the features of the process as we're defining the core function of this. And it's also very important to define what success looks like. Now, we're barely on our second step here, and you can already see this is going to be the same process as building SOPs whenever you're hiring a new team member. We're treating this as a mini employee, so we need to train it as a mini employee. We can't expect employees to come on and do everything we need them to do without setting parameters. Now, we're going to speed through the next 3 here. We have our input requirements, what must the user provide before anything works. So this will be like a video script or describe what you sell. Conversation logic. This will be, do we need to enforce clarifying questions if it's an assistant? That way, if we have vague prompts, it can define those. Or if it's a tool, how is it going to have those conversations? Content output or framework. This will be some examples. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. What is the core structure of how it's delivering the answers to us? Then we go into the format patterns and logic rules. This is where you really need to set constraints and add templates into here to maintain quality. So for our caption GPT, it's trained on over 400 high-performing captions that are either bringing up awareness, starting conversations, or creating conversions. And that is the baseline that our custom GPT is using to measure success whenever delivering new captions for whoever's using the tool. Then from here, we're going to define the voice and style. So how should this ChatGPT sound? And you can also reference really big names or people that you look up to, such as Donald Miller, Myron Golden, Alex Hormozi, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You can also use books. There is a platform where you'll be able to download the books and upload it into your custom GPT. That tool is called oceanofpdf.com. Ocean, like you're swimming in the ocean, of pdf.com to download books. So it can be data back to confidence. The next one is going to be guardrails, do's or do nots. So create a list of all the behaviors this GPT should avoid. So don't assume things about your audience or offer. I don't care about all the data that ChatGPT is trained on. I only want it to hyper focus on the data that I'm giving it. I want it to have that sniper focus because all the things work if you work it, but I really don't care about all the other things because we're focusing on my business. Also, we usually add in behaviors of don't flatter or agree if the user's idea is weak, don't generate filler content, and never break character. So avoid giving legal advice or writing code if it's off-brand or giving me copy that doesn't sound like me. Then, of course, you can define the conversation starter so it's easier to navigate this custom GPT. So an example would be start here, clarify my offer, write a carousel, draft a sales email, and then you can define the flow from there and lead into the next steps. Now, let me give you an example of how our viral content bot was actually trained. I'm not going to go line by line, section by section, but I just want to give you a general overview of what this looks like. So you'll see that we have the role and identity defined. You're a viral content bot, XYZ 1, 2, 3. Your core function is to ABC 1, 2, 3, create content that builds audience and drive aligned action. Input requirements, then we put all of the pre-generating gating logic into here. It sounds super fancy, but we're using a ChatGPT in a custom GPT that actually is helping us build custom GPTs throughout this whole process. So let's go through a sneak peek of what this actually looks like behind the scenes once you've already gone through those 10 steps. So this is behind the scenes of our offer bot. You'll see that we have 8,000 characters of instructions listed out into here, our conversation starters, and we do have some knowledge that is uploaded into here that it's constantly looking at. You can upload up to 20 PDFs worth of knowledge, and each of these PDFs can be the size of a Harry Potter book, so it's a really limitless amount of information that you can train this on to really get the best out of it. I hope this video helped. If you're ready to take the next step with building custom GPTs and figuring out what's going to be the best tools or assistants for your business, leave a comment on this video. We'll figure out what's the best route for you.